You've been carrying a version of yourself that's comfortable, small, and safe. The boy who hides from responsibility, avoids hard truths, and chooses easier pleasures. But inside you is a deeper, stronger self waiting to emerge. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to stop feeding that smaller self and begin the powerful, intentional work of becoming the mature person you are meant to be. Ready? Let's begin the transformation. Step 1. Own your responsibility. Owning your responsibility is one of the deepest shifts you can ever make in your life. It begins with a recognition that every choice, every action, every response is yours alone. People often look outward when things fall apart. They point fingers, they justify, they explain away their failures by leaning on circumstances, family, or even luck. But the truth is, as long as you keep blaming external forces, you will remain stuck in the same cycle. The moment you turn your gaze inward and admit, this is mine to own, this is mine to correct, this is mine to improve, you reclaim a power you may not have realized you always had. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the key that unlocks freedom. When you take full charge of your choices, you are no longer at the mercy of life's storms. You become the captain steering your own ship. To own responsibility also means you stop negotiating with excuses. Excuses are comfortable, they give you temporary relief from guilt, but in reality, they trap you in the same patterns. Owning responsibility means if you make a mistake, you admit it quickly and cleanly, without the need to defend your ego. If you are behind in your goals, you don't wait for someone to push you, you push yourself. You recognize that success or failure is a reflection of your habits, not just your hopes. When you live like this, your mindset changes. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to prove your resilience. You stop waiting for motivation and instead build momentum through discipline. You start holding yourself to a higher standard, not because anyone else demands it, but because you refuse to let yourself down. Step 2. Trade immaturity for purpose. Trading immaturity for purpose is one of the most defining decisions in a person's journey toward growth. Immaturity often hides in the desire for comfort, for instant gratification, and for the easy way out. It shows up when we run from responsibility, when we choose distraction over focus, or when we let short-term pleasure rob us of long-term meaning. The immature self wants to be entertained, wants everything to happen quickly, and avoids discomfort at all costs. But a life lived this way becomes shallow and unsatisfying because there is no depth in constantly chasing what feels good in the moment. To trade immaturity for purpose means to make a conscious choice. You give up temporary pleasures in exchange for a mission that brings fulfillment, even if it requires discipline, patience, and sacrifice. Purpose, unlike pleasure, has weight and stability. When you live with purpose, you no longer need to be driven by moods or impulses because your direction is already set. Immaturity says, I'll do what I feel like. Purpose says, I'll do what I must, even if I don't feel like it right now. Immaturity makes you a passenger in life, waiting for circumstances to dictate your path. Purpose makes you the driver, fully awake and fully invested in where you're headed. This trade requires a mindset shift. It asks you to reframe how you see discomfort, not as something to avoid, but as a necessary tool for growth. It asks you to give up the need to be constantly entertained and instead pour yourself into work that builds a legacy. When you embrace purpose, you stop asking, what can I get right now? And start asking, what will this choice build for my future? That single question is the line between immaturity and maturity. Step 3, face fear with faith. Facing fear with faith is the turning point where growth truly begins. Fear is a universal experience. It whispers in your mind when you are about to take a risk, step into the unknown, or rise beyond what you've been before. It tells you stories of failure, embarrassment, and loss. Fear thrives on imagination, painting pictures of everything that could go wrong. But here is the truth. Fear only has the power you allow it to have. It is not the reality. It is the shadow of what might happen. To face fear with faith means that instead of surrendering to those shadows, you choose to trust a greater vision, a higher power, and your own ability to endure whatever comes. Faith becomes the light that pushes back the darkness of uncertainty, reminding you that you are stronger, braver, and more resilient than you think. When fear rises, it often demands comfort, retreat, and silence. It tells you to stay where it feels safe, to avoid the risk, to shrink back into what you know. Faith, on the other hand, asks you to step forward even when the ground ahead feels shaky. Faith is not blind. It is a decision to believe that there is more beyond what you can see. It anchors you in the conviction that even if you stumble, you will find your way through. Every great achievement, every breakthrough in life was made by someone who felt fear but chose faith anyway. The difference between staying small and growing strong lies in that single choice. Fear will always be present. It is part of being human, but it does not have to rule your actions. Faith does not remove fear. It teaches you to act in spite of it, knowing that the path forward is worth every trembling step. Step 4, build daily rituals. Building daily rituals is the quiet foundation upon which lasting success is built. Most people wait for big breakthroughs, for moments of inspiration, or for sudden motivation to carry them forward. But those who grow strong and consistent understand that greatness does not come from occasional bursts of energy. It comes from the small, repeated actions that shape character over time. A ritual is more than just a habit. It is an intentional practice, something you commit to every single day because you know it connects you with your higher purpose. Whether it is waking up early, taking time to reflect, writing down your goals, or exercising your body, these small, repeated acts gradually mold you into the person capable of carrying the weight of your vision. Daily rituals create order in the middle of life's chaos. They give you anchors that steady you when distractions are loud and tempting. Without rituals, you drift from one mood to another, letting circumstances decide your day. With rituals, you become rooted, intentional, and disciplined. Even when emotions waver, your rituals keep you moving in the right direction. A 5-minute ritual of gratitude in the morning can shift your entire perspective for the day. A ritual of planning can keep you focused instead of scattered. A ritual of reflection at night can sharpen your awareness and guide you into tomorrow with wisdom. These practices may feel small in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, they compound into extraordinary strength. The beauty of rituals lies in their ability to remind you of who you are and what you are becoming. They are daily votes for the kind of person you want to be. They build resilience when times are tough, consistency when distractions are strong, and character when no one is watching. Step 5, become emotionally sovereign. Becoming emotionally sovereign means reclaiming ownership of your inner world so that your feelings no longer dictate the course of your actions. Too often, people live like slaves to their emotions, rising and falling with every wave of anger, insecurity, disappointment, or excitement. When someone criticizes them, they spiral into self-doubt. When circumstances shift, they collapse under pressure. But true strength comes when you understand that emotions are signals, not masters. They arrive to give you information, to alert you to what matters, but they should never hold the steering wheel of your life. Emotional sovereignty is the art of noticing what you feel, honoring it, and then deciding consciously how to respond. It is the discipline of refusing to let momentary feelings destroy long-term goals. This kind of mastery does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means facing them honestly and then placing them in their proper role. Anger, for example, can be transformed into determination. Fear can become focus. Sadness can deepen compassion. Instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, the emotionally sovereign person pauses, breathes, and chooses with intention. They know that their worth is not at the mercy of outside opinions, nor their progress chained to temporary moods. When others lose control, they remain steady, grounded, and present. Living with emotional sovereignty gives you freedom. You no longer feel tossed around by the storms of life because you carry stability within yourself. People begin to trust your presence because they see you are not easily shaken. You lead not with impulsive reactions, but with calm authority. This steadiness becomes a source of influence, respect, and inner peace, allowing you to walk through life with a quiet power that cannot be taken away. Step 6, lead by example. To lead by example is to recognize that influence is not earned by words alone, but by the way you live. Many people speak about values, integrity, and discipline, yet their actions contradict their message. True leadership is silent at first. It is the consistency of your behavior that commands respect before your voice ever does. When you lead by example, you don't demand from others what you are unwilling to practice yourself. You embody the very qualities you wish to see in those around you. And in doing so, you create a model that inspires without force. Others watch how you handle pressure, how you treat people, how you keep promises, and from your actions they learn what is possible. Leading by example requires humility because it asks you to place responsibility above comfort. It is not about trying to look perfect or impress anyone. It is about being authentic, disciplined, and accountable in both private and public moments. The small decisions you make when no one is watching matter just as much as the larger choices made in front of others. When you choose honesty, even when dishonesty would be easier, when you remain disciplined, even when others are cutting corners, you show a kind of strength that words alone can never communicate. People are more moved by what they witness than by what they hear, and they will mirror the standard you live. This form of leadership also requires sacrifice, because setting the tone often means doing more, giving more, and enduring more than those you guide. But it is this sacrifice that builds trust. When others see you working hard, staying true to your values, and rising after setbacks, they begin to believe that they too can rise. In this way, leadership by example creates a ripple effect, shaping not just individuals, but entire environments toward excellence. My friends, every step of growth we've spoken about today leads back to one truth. You already carry within you the potential to rise higher, to stand stronger, and to live with greater purpose. The boy in you has served his time, but the man in you, the mature, disciplined, courageous self, is waiting to be fully born. From this moment forward, choose responsibility over excuses, purpose over comfort, faith over fear, discipline over distraction, calm over reaction, and example over empty words. Your future will not be built by chance. It will be shaped by the choices you make today. So walk out with steady conviction, lift your head with confidence, and step into the life you were designed to lead.